Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into a topic that's frankly going to be critical for your exams and for the future of India. We're breaking down NITI Aayog's big roadmap for jobs in the age of AI. We're going to pull out all the key facts, frameworks, and data points you absolutely have to know. So get ready to take some notes. Let's get started. So here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the huge choice, the crossroads that India is facing. Then we'll unpack a really smart framework for understanding exactly how AI is changing everything. After that, we'll get real about the big challenges standing in our way, and then cover the ambitious national mission designed to tackle them. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with a super focused summary of everything you need to remember. You know, this quote from the CEO of NITI Aayog just nails it. It perfectly sets the stage. The question isn't if AI is coming, it's here. The real question is, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to be swept away, or are we going to ride this wave? The stakes couldn't be higher. Okay, so let's jump into that first big idea. The report calls this moment India's crossroads, and for good reason. It paints a picture of two completely different futures for our entire tech sector, a real fork in the road. And just look at these numbers. I mean, the contrast is staggering. If we don't act, if we just let things happen, we could lose 1.5 million tech jobs. But if we are strategic, if we make the right moves now, we could create up to 4 million new opportunities. That's a massive swing. These are the two paths, and these are the numbers you'll want to have in your notes. So, how do we even begin to understand a change this huge? Well, the report gives us a brilliant framework to analyze it all. It pushes us to look beyond just the simple idea of automation and see the three key ways AI is really shaking things up. And here it is. This is a big one for your exams, so listen up. It's called the 3W framework. It's a way to analyze AI's impact on 3 different levels. First, the work itself, the actual tasks being done. Second, the worker, the job roles people have. And third, the workforce, the entire structure of an organization. Work, worker, workforce. When you look at all 3 together, you get a much clearer picture. So let's start with that first W, the work. This chart shows us the software development lifecycle, or SDLC. And you can see right away AI is making a huge difference in things like coding and testing. We're talking productivity boosts of up to 25%. But then look over at deployment. The gains are way smaller. So the key takeaway here is that AI's impact isn't uniform. It's very specific to the task at hand. Now for the second W, the worker. This is where it gets really interesting. This table tells a story. On one hand, you have roles like a junior QA engineer that are becoming redundant. In the middle, you have roles like a full-stack developer that are evolving. They now have to work with AI. And on the other end, you have totally new jobs popping up, like an ethical AI specialist. So it's not just about jobs vanishing. It's a complete reshaping of the job market. And that brings us to our final W, the workforce. This changes the entire shape of a company. Think about it. AI can handle a lot of the basic stuff, so you need fewer entry-level people. That means new hires can jump straight into the more complex, logical problem-solving. And managers, their job shifts from just supervising people to focusing on big-picture strategy. It creates a leaner, more agile, and frankly, a totally different kind of company. Okay, so we see the massive potential, we have a framework to understand it, but that positive outcome, well, it's not a guarantee, not even close. The report is very clear about 3 critical challenges that could prevent India from seizing this opportunity. First, just the sheer scale of the disruption is staggering. We're talking about over 60% of formal jobs being vulnerable to automation. And then there's this number, 400 million. That's how many people are in our informal sector, with almost no pathway to get the formal training needed for these new AI skills. That is a massive vulnerability for the country. The second big risk, well, it takes us right back to school. The problem is our educational foundation. Here in India, computer science is often just an optional subject. But if you look at our global competitors, countries like China and Russia, it's mandatory, right from primary school. We're basically starting from behind in building our future AI workforce. And that education gap, it leads directly to this, an innovation gap. Honestly, this chart should be a huge wake-up call. In 2023, India's share of all granted AI patents globally was less than 5%. We're consuming AI, but we're not creating the core technology. That number, less than 5%, is a major red flag. And the third risk is one we all know well, brain drain. This number here, negative 1.55, represents our net talent migration. In simple terms, it means for every 10,000 people, we are losing more skilled professionals than we're gaining. Our top minds are leaving right at the moment we need them the most. So when you put all of that together, the education gaps, the innovation lag, the brain drain, you get this: a massive talent gap. Right now, our supply of AI talent only meets about half of the current demand, 50%, and that gap is predicted to get even wider. This is the real ticking clock that the report is warning us about.
So, what do? The report doesn't just leave us with the problems. It lays out a really comprehensive, national-level mission to turn this whole situation around. This is the big strategy to build an AI-ready workforce for India.
And here is the core of that strategy. And for all of you preparing for exams, they've given us a fantastic mnemonic to remember the 5 key parts. It's EMSCC. Seriously, write this down. That's E for education, M for magnet, and S for skilling. Then you have 2 C's which enable everything: AI Commons and a compute grid. EMSCC. Let's quickly walk through what each one means. First up, the E, embed AI in education. This is all about fixing that leaky pipeline right from the start. We're talking dedicated AI departments in colleges, integrating AI into the school curriculum, massively funding more PhDs, and crucially, making sure professors and industry experts are actually talking to each other so that what's being taught is actually relevant.
Next, M is for magnet. The goal here is simple. We have to reverse the brain drain and turn it into a brain gain. How? By offering attractive grants and salaries to bring our best researchers back home, creating a special AI talent visa to attract top global minds, and building world-class research centers where they'd actually want to work.
And finally, S is for the skilling engine. This piece is for everyone who's already in the workforce. The idea is to create flexible AI master's and PhD programs for working professionals, and to use our big national schemes like NAPS and PMKY to roll out AI literacy to the masses. The goal is to make sure nobody gets left behind in this transition. Okay, deep breath. We've covered a ton of ground. Now, let's boil it all down to the absolute essentials. Think of this as your final revision blueprint. Everything you need to know for the exam, all in one place. All right, let's do a rapid-fire recap. First, the crossroads. The stakes are losing 1.5 million jobs versus creating 4 million. Second, the key framework. Remember the 3 W's: work, worker, and workforce. Third, the critical risks. Remember these numbers: a 50% talent gap, less than 5% share of AI patents, and a net talent migration of negative 1.55. And finally, the solution, the India AI Talent Mission. And how do you remember its parts? With the mnemonic EMSCC. Got it? Good. And all of this brings us to one final powerful question. This NITI Aayog report is a detailed roadmap. It's a clear plan of action. But right now, it's still just a plan on paper. India's tech destiny is an unwritten story, and we're all left to wonder, will this roadmap be the pen that writes a successful future for us all?